Wait, can a machine really feel for you? Empathy. It's one of those deeply human things, like laughing at the wrong time or crying during a commercial. We like to think it's ours alone, right? But here's the twist. Artificial intelligence is starting to mimic it. Actually, not just mimic it. Some say it might even do it better. Yeah, I know, that sounds like science fiction. A robot therapist with better bedside manners than your aunt? Come on. But bear with me, because this conversation isn't just about whether machines can feel. It's about whether they can understand us. Maybe more than we understand each other. Let's break it down. The basics. What is empathy anyway? Before we start comparing humans and machines, let's clear the air. Empathy isn't one size fits all. There's cognitive empathy, understanding what someone else is feeling, not necessarily feeling it yourself. Emotional empathy, actually feeling what someone else feels. Compassionate empathy, understanding, feeling, and doing something helpful about it. Humans juggle all three, sometimes poorly. AI? It's making strides in the first, experimenting with the second, and pretending the third. So is that real empathy? Depends who you ask. Some argue that true empathy requires sentience. Others argue it's all about the response. After all, if someone says the right thing at the right time and you feel better, does it matter if they're flesh and blood or silicon and code? How AI is learning to care. Or at least pretend, let's be honest. AI doesn't cry at the end of the notebook, but it does analyze tone, word choice, pauses, facial expressions, and behavior patterns faster and sometimes more accurately than we do. Take tools like Woebot or Replika. They're chatbot companions that sound caring. Not perfect, but surprisingly comforting. They remember what you said. They check in. They suggest self-care techniques. Some users even prefer them over human therapists. Why? Zero judgment, infinite patience. And yeah, maybe because they never interrupt. The way these systems work is pretty fascinating too. They rely on natural language processing, sentiment analysis, and machine learning. They don't just give scripted responses, they evolve. They get to know you. Kind of like that one barista who remembers your order and asks about your cat. It's eerie and comforting, all at once. Okay, but can that replace real human connection? Now here's where it gets thorny. Because real connection often involves vulnerability, awkward silences, shared experiences, stuff that feels messy. AI doesn't do messy. It does clean logic, trained response models, algorithmic tone matching. But wait, think about this. How many times have you talked to someone who should understand you, and they just didn't? We're flawed, tired, distracted, wrapped up in our own stuff. Sometimes an AI's calm consistency is more soothing than a frazzled friend who half listens while scrolling Instagram. And what about long-term support? Most people don't have access to constant human presence. Friends move, therapists get booked, schedules clash. But an AI? Always on, always available. That's not nothing. The super listener effect. Here's a strange upside. AI can be a super listener. It doesn't bring emotional baggage. It doesn't get bored. It doesn't rush. It never forgets what you said 6 months ago at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. Some AI platforms are trained on massive data sets of human conversation. They learn patterns. They recognize pain points. They can detect micro shifts in emotion, sometimes more precisely than a therapist trained for decades. Creepy? Maybe. Useful? Absolutely. It's like talking to someone who always knows the right thing to say. Because, statistically, it is the right thing to say. Even in corporate spaces, AI is being used for emotional analytics. Customer support bots that recognize when a caller is frustrated. HR tools that detect burnout based on email tone. It's not just personal anymore, it's organizational. But is empathy without emotion still empathy? Let's not kid ourselves. AI doesn't feel your pain. It simulates understanding. But here's the twist. Does that matter if the result is comfort? If someone says, "I'm here for you," and you feel seen, does it matter if they're made of wires and code? Some argue yes. That authenticity matters. That empathy without emotion is manipulation. Others argue no. That outcome matters more than origin. If AI helps someone out of a depressive spiral or de-escalates a crisis, who cares if it lacks a soul? That brings up another point. Ethics. If we become emotionally reliant on a machine, who controls the machine? Who's responsible if it gives bad advice? Or if it says the right thing at the wrong time? Empathy is powerful, and power needs accountability. Humans are biased. AI isn't, right? Well, not exactly. AI is only as good as its data. And guess what? Our data is hella biased. Gender, race, cultural norms, it all sneaks in. If your data set includes biased therapists, guess what kind of empathetic AI you get? And then there's tone detection. Some accents, dialects, or speech styles don't register well on AI systems. That's a serious accessibility issue. So no, AI isn't neutral yet. But the potential to remove some human bias is there. If we can fix the data, and that's a big if, it also depends on who's building the systems. Are developers diverse? Are ethics teams involved? Are marginalized voices included in training data? Because if not, we're just replicating old systems with a shinier interface. The trust problem. Would you trust AI with your deepest wounds? You stub your toe? Sure. Rant to a bot? But what about grief? Abuse, existential dread? For now, most people still prefer human counselors for the really heavy stuff. There's something about eye contact, body language, the quiet understanding and a shared sigh. But younger generations, Gen Z especially, are more open to digital connection. They already talk to screens. Some even prefer texting over speaking. For them, AI empathy isn't weird. It's normal. That could change how we view trust, intimacy, and even therapy itself. Unexpected side effect. AI teaching us to be more empathetic? This one's wild. In some studies, interacting with empathetic AI has made people more emotionally aware themselves. Why? Because the AI models ideal listening behavior. No interruptions, no invalidations, just reflection and gentle prompts. It's like getting a crash course in how to be a better human from a machine. In fact, some teachers are now using AI bots in classrooms to teach kids social skills, emotional regulation, conflict resolution. It's not about replacing parents or friends. It's about adding another tool. So, who wins, AI or humans? Here's the truth. It's not a competition. AI will never fully replace human empathy, but it doesn't have to. It can augment it, support it. Fill in the gaps where humans fall short, like night shift therapists, suicide prevention chatbots, companions for the elderly, or just someone or something to talk to when everyone else is asleep. Instead of fearing robot overlords with feelings, maybe we should ask, what if AI helps us remember how to care? The heart isn't binary empathy, isn't all logic or all emotion. It's a blend. A paradox, a human glitch, beautifully flawed. AI's version will always be different. But if it helps someone feel less alone, even for a moment, isn't that worth something? So no, machines don't feel, but they can help us feel seen. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. And hey, if someday a robot tells you, I hear you and I care, and you believe it, well, maybe that says more about us than it does about the machine.